The other thing was finished off Sacred and Terrible Air, the
Mm.
book taking place within the same universe as Disco Elysium by Robert Kurvitz. Got to the conclusion of that setting, and boy, I've said it before and I'll say again. This is one of those. This is a book that certainly is like after the read, you have to go back and reread and digest a
Yeah.
little bit more to take in everything that happened, and I felt that heavily towards the conclusion of this. But at the very least, if someone is interested in diving into a short story taking place in the disco world and you want to get like an audio book to listen to kind of thing, yeah, we've now completed that for posterity's sake. So feel free to enjoy in 4 episodes the full reading. Kurvitz is a goddamn fucking master wordsmith, and his ability to just, you know, manipulate the tapestry of language to make his points is amazing. It is incredible. There are moments that are like just all the best moments of the narrator going in disco, like that type of style occurring in this, where there's a character that is like just navigating through the pale, walking with the ghost of the spirit of communism, like just describing how the revolution went down and what true belief in communism is. And like that entire segment is just a wild, like, let's look at every belief structure in the same way that you do in disco and just like rip it open. And the ones you believe in the hardest are the ones that we have the most to say about. It is what's fucking awesome with the by the time you end this book is that to I'm using disco. It's its own thing, but I'm using disco a lot as a reference point for like if you enjoyed that type of flavor and that type of the wit and the insight that comes from that game. And this kind of follows that flavor. Disco examines fascism, communism, ultraliberal, and moralism as the political alignments that you can kind of fall into, right? And you have different thoughts that come together. I feel like Sacred and Terrible Air examines the fifth and final political alignment, nihilism, and it gets
Dude, I love that one.
it gets touched on a little in disco. In this, it's a full dive into what if we go hard into like what would come from the thought cabinet of internalizing nihilism. And it is wild, it is extreme, and it is and to be quite honest, the answer is yeah, the end of the world. It is a fascinating way to break down the effects of what all these thoughts have on the world that they're in, and in this case, how easily you can follow that through, and not the fun, haha, it's cool to hate the world nihilism. I mean, like, what is the point of anything like there, it shows you the gradual transition, because you can take steps from kind of believing in like this is the way things ought to be, and then this is the way things are, and then if the world doesn't want the way that doesn't want to become what it ought to be, and in this case, like, literally the spirit of communism has a moment of like, yeah, if the world doesn't want communism, then why should it even exist, and it goes that it really examines it in a way that brings apart it describes how the setting comes to be, and it explores the Pale as well. If you thought the Pale was interesting in Disco Elysium, and if you wanted to like go down how and why that works and what the setting is, and like the nature of its like its mysteries, but it doesn't give you full answers, but it leaves implications and ways that the Pale can be the things that it does. It basically goes into it, right? It is the sacred and terrible air. That is the Pale. That on its own is like the best parts of this book. And in the foreground of that is the characters trying to solve the mystery, and your prototype Harry style detective person bumbling through with some other friends that are also fucked up, trying to figure out what happened to these missing girls. it is a yeah, it is a real it is a real like I guess it is mature ass subject matter. It is full of the worst versions of trauma and things like sexual abuse come up. So full warning on all of that, and um, the effects of just the effects of the worst versions of like fascism on society and things like that get explored. It has these particularly like just there's real damage you take from moments where like like there's a moment where you kind of are following the thoughts of this character who is I've described before just like a literal Nazi monster child molester type character that's up front in that book, you know, and described as the one of the first leads that they go down to solving this mystery. And like it's not much, but it's just like there's a footnote that like as things escalate and go further into the future, there's a point where like a documentary, like a movie, is made about that character, and the director is shocked and aghast at the idea that the audience the audience that ended up loving his movie were not getting his sarcastic and obvious framing of the absurdity of this guy's beliefs, and they were actually looking at it as a reinforcing awesome dude that was full of truth. And when he got incoherent towards the end of his life, it's because he was spitting so much truth that his own brain couldn't handle it. What a fucking noble hero, you know, this guy was, this insane child molesting fascist, you know. And it's like, oh no, but I thought it would be obvious with my directing style and commentary. Why didn't they? No, what do you no, he's not supposed to be based, guys, stop calling him based. You know. And you're just like, this is brutal.
I feel like Breaking Bad is like a very pop culture example of like you can't write a charismatic piece of shit because people will just gravitate towards them and be like, yeah, man, fucking Skylar trying to stop him from selling drugs and killing people? What the fuck?
Dude, like, it's almost as if that moment could have had a prompt in the corner going, would you like to know more? It is Starship Troopers, absolutely happening. And that's like what that's just like yeah, one of the side notes, you know. So yeah, I really if you have any interest in, especially knowing that we're never going back to that setting again, like that shit's fucking done and dusted, and in the most disco way possible, as we know the legal bullshit that's happening with Zaum. If you do ever want to dive a little bit further into the world, into the thoughts, into the pale, and come out the other side like a little more shaken but also informed, I would definitely recommend it. Sacred and Terrible Air in particular. And yeah, no, the episodes are, you know, they're going to be up. You can check them out on WoolieVersus. And Josh, my friend who made the reader that basically allows you to go through the game to go through the book in the same style as the Disco Elysium visual novel text. I believe he's going to release that as well on its own. You'll have to go get.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, you'll have to go get
awesome.
your own PDF of the book, but like you put that in place, and then, you know, this is a text reader that'll just let you read in Disco Elysium style and pop up the artwork as well. So that was a lot of fun.